Hello, booze and ghouls, and welcome to a special episode of the NerdCast. It's it's an episode that is connected to our Freaks and Eeks special run, and that means we're going to be talking about all things spooky and fun. So, oh, I just rhymed. Um, so I'm going to kick things off with Angelina by asking her, as someone who never really celebrated Halloween when you were a kid, is there anything now that you feel like you missed out on, or do you feel like you're better off beginning celebrations as an adult?
I mean, I don't really feel like I missed anything. I didn't really feel like I was missing anything as a kid. I liked the idea of getting to dress up in a costume. And that was about it. Nothing else really excited me about it. And I think if anything, I kind of felt special that I didn't celebrate it.
You felt special?
So this is like the only one of any of my friends. So, I don't know. I like Halloween. I like spooky stuff. It's not my favorite holiday still. And I think part of it is because I don't have those memories of being a kid celebrating. Because maybe that kind of makes it more concrete for you when you can think back and have positive memories of a holiday like that. But no, I don't feel like I missed anything. And even giving out candy, I'm like, it's okay. I like decorating for it. I like costume parties and making spooky treats and doing fun things and pumpkin carving and fall stuff. But all the Halloween traditions that I missed, I don't really feel like I missed much.
Okay. Well, that I can understand that. I guess. Well, 'cause you said maybe if I had those memories, I would have more of a connection to it. For me, that's not even what it's about. While yes, I do have a lot of really wonderful memories. I love Halloween and the whole season for the aesthetic and the things you get to do. I love going out and picking out pumpkins and watching spooky movies and having everything be orange and black and green and having the leaves change color and
Green?
Yeah, there's that darker green.
I would think purple more than green.
Okay, well that's a color too. Yeah, but it's not one of the ones I listed, but I like that one too for the spooky season. But yeah, and all the TV shows and the movies that get released and all the specials on TV, like the Haunted Bake Works, what's it, the Haunted, what is it? What's it called on Food Network?
Halloween Wars.
Halloween Wars? Okay, yeah. Stuff like that. And I guess I love Christmas, the Christmas season for that same reason, but I think I just feel more, I don't know, comfortable with Halloween and everything, and especially because during that time of year it's not freezing yet, so you get to go outside and do more outdoorsy
pretty cold
things.
Now.
Well, it's cold now. Well, because now we're in November, so it's towards the end of October is
It's
normally when
pretty
it
chilly
starts to
on
get
Halloween.
cold. Well, but that's also a thing. I mean, I don't have to go outside for trick or treating anymore, so that's another thing I get to enjoy as an adult. I can just go and buy my own candy and then just sit inside and be warm and put on something spooky, Like when Stranger Things season 2 was dropped, that's what we did. We just got a bunch of candy and then we sat inside and binge watched it all. So I think that's why I love it so much. But okay, so speaking of media and things that are released during that time of year, you love spooky movies and spooky TV shows and stuff. But this didn't start when you were a kid. right? Because I know that you like the Addams Family, but your parents weren't really letting you watch like Halloween Town or anything like that, were they?
No. But I still liked spooky things. Like, I always had more of like a twist to my personality and my interests. I was a very dark kind of child.
You were very much a Wednesday Addams type of person.
Yes.
Yeah.
So not being able to celebrate Halloween didn't really change that for me. I didn't watch Halloween Town as a kid. But, I mean, the Addams Family, that's something that we all watched together. Like, my whole family loved that.
Yeah.
And, like, Little Shop of Horrors, that was one that we would watch together.
Never actually seen that all the way through.
Yeah. I saw all the Alfred Hitchcock movies. Like, my parents threw me a party when I was, like, 8. And I said I wanted to watch creepy movies and have popcorn and stuff. And they set it all up with all my dad's old Alfred Hitchcock movies.
Oh, that's so cute. That's awesome.
Because I was just a weird kid.
That's not weird. I used to watch Alfred Hitchcock movies with Grandmom all the time.
No,
we watched
I know,
The
but
Birds and stuff.
I was like a small child, and that was like my idea for my birthday party. So, not watching like movies that were specific to Halloween didn't impact that for me. I was always interested in spooky, bizarre stuff, and like I watched shows that still were like creepy that weren't Halloween. Like, I watched that show So Weird that we've talked about before.
Yeah.
That had paranormal stuff, and I liked watching all of the, like, ghost shows on the Travel Channel.
Okay.
Like, the ghost hunters going through, and, like, all the, like, historical sites. So, but I did that all year. Like, I did things that people associate with Halloween all of the time.
Yeah.
So, not celebrating that specific holiday didn't exempt me from the traditions around it, just in different ways, I suppose.
Okay. Well, I understand that. Because I enjoy those things year round as well. To an extent. I guess, like, I obviously don't leave all the decorations up and watch, like, Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street and whatever, year round. I guess it's the time of year that really puts you in the mood for it, but, I like, I don't know. I like experiencing everything more around that time of year, but I can understand.
Like horror movies.
Yeah, well, they release
horror
movies year round, so, and we, we watched Malignant in, like, September. Right? Or did we watch that in October?
I don't remember when we watched that. I didn't like that very much.
No. Well, that's another thing. Like, horror movies nowadays, like, with a few exceptions, I feel like have become very predictable and so not very scary. Unless you're doing something very unique and creative with your scares and characters. A lot of movies rely too much on jump scares and too much on gore. And, like, when you had, back in the days, like, the slasher films, like Friday the 13th and Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream, those were very new. So, like, everybody was...
Well, you're talking about very different eras. Like, Halloween was the 70s.
Yeah,
Scream
but...
much
later. Oh, no, I know. But all those movies were kind of inspired by one another. They all took bits and pieces from each other, which I think Halloween is kind of the one that started it all. But every time they did something like that, they added, like, a new twist to it. Like, now, the killer is not, he's not, like, connected to anyone. He's just deranged and is targeting certain people that, he has a gripe with, like in, what's it called? Scream. But,
yeah.
like, now it's just like, well, insert monster here or person with mask and then give them a knife and set them on their way. Like the the movie about the girl that keeps getting killed and then waking up, Happy Death Day, or something like that, you know. Which I guess, you know,
I thought that was more creative.
in theory,
but it was
is
also
kind
satirical.
well, yeah, but
And same with the one that we watched.
there's a lot of movies that are like that
they
now.
switch places.
That was okay.
I liked that one.
I didn't like that as much.
I'm realizing is the more horror movies I consume, because I didn't watch a lot of true horror movies, is that I don't like horror movies as much as I like
Thrillers and like mysteries.
Creepy, spooky movies that are in the same mood. But I don't like gore. It will make me sick to my stomach. And I don't like jump scares because they don't necessarily scare me, but they give me anxiety that just lays under the surface, and then that's what ends up giving me nightmares or makes me like jumpy. And I don't like that feeling. That's what I'm realizing, is that I don't like it. I think that's why I don't have any desire to go to like a haunted maze or a haunted house, because I like don't want that level of adrenaline. I like scary stories we tell in the dark. I feel like that's the perfect like embodiment of that.
It's very creepy.
That type of movie that I enjoy. That like there's a little bit of mystery, like oh, what's happening, and then there's kind of the paranormal element with Sarah and her ghost in the book, and then like that's a creative storyline, but it's not gross and gory.
No, it's not.
And that's the type of movie that I really enjoy. And there are some horror movies that are still like that, but I think that's more in line with what I personally enjoy. Like I like Halloween, but even some parts of that are a little gory for me. I just don't like blood and guts.
They don't actually do a whole lot of that in Halloween. It's very minimalist. Like,
well, when they pin him up on the wall.
Yeah, but you don't see blood come out of him, and there's no spillage. It's actually a pretty cool shot because they're silhouetted by the moonlight, and you just see Michael there staring at the kid that he just hung up on the wall with a knife, kind of like tilting his head back and forth, like wow, look at this. This is cool that I just did this.
Yeah.
But in that whole movie, like, he chokes one girl out with like a phone cord, and then another girl in the car with his bare hands. The only person he actually like stabs in that whole movie is the boy, and then he slashes at Jamie Lee's character a bunch, but never really like gets her, So
true.
I think that movie is a really good example of how you can have something be scary without showing a lot of gore. And because there are parts, I mean, it didn't scare me, but there are parts of that movie that are unsettling, and the music, I really feel like, is what does it. That's another thing that I feel like a lot of scary movies you should utilize your music and your sound effects, more than jump scares and stuff like that, because in a lot of cases, music is what gets people, I mean, think of, the John Carpenter's theme or the Jaws theme, like, very iconic, but when you hear it, like, the Jaws theme is iconic because it's cool, but also because, like, it's very unnerving, and it rises. It starts out slow, like he's approaching, and then as it gets closer and closer, he builds up speed, and then boom, you're gone. He's got you, and then it rises and crashes at the end, And I feel like every time you're in the ocean and you think of that song, it kind of skeeves you out, and you want to get out. But yeah, like that single like violin sound that rises that they use in The Conjuring, I think is really cool, and they do that a lot. Like at the beginning when they're giving you like the it's like the title crawl, and it's like telling you about their latest case and everything, and then it hits you with the chorus that rises and the violins right as you see like The Conjuring, and it's like in blood red. Like that's always very, very scary and unsettling to me, and that's a good way to start the movie.
I don't find those movies overly scary. However,
they're good though.
I agree that the score always contributes to the overall feel of a movie, and then a good score can make or break it. That's true for most. Yeah, I would agree. I just don't like gratuitous violence. I think that's what it is.
agree.
I get uncomfortable watching most horror movies for that reason, because I just don't like seeing sociopaths. It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it like makes me uneasy, and I know some people enjoy that, and
Like kind
There are
of.
people who like violent video games and shooting people and all
Well,
that.
the whole video game thing is something very
I
different.
know, but I'm just saying, like, and I think you can get desensitized to those images over time and it doesn't impact you as much, but you really have to separate yourself because it's gotten so realistic now that, like,
The Purge,
yeah,
all those movies.
like, to watch someone, like, brutally dismember or kill another person is just very, I don't know, that just is really upsetting to me to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm always, like, kind of cautious about a new horror movie because I'm like, I don't really want to even see that. Like, that doesn't even thrill me in any way. Not that there's anything wrong with it necessarily if it does for someone else, but I just personally I don't enjoy that aspect of it. So that's, I think, another reason why I prefer the spooky, creepy feel instead of like slashers or raging psychopaths on a mission.
The Paranormal Activity movies are really good.
That's true.
I like them a lot.
We've
because,
talked about this before.
Yeah.
It's the people. The people are the scariest part.
Well, true, but there's something scary to me about the feeling of, like, you're going about your day and you don't know what's going on behind you. And that's what those movies do a really good job of showing, because you have those characters that are, like, cooking, or the babysitter who's sitting there on her phone, and then behind her is the ghost in the sheet, and it just drops. And then she turns around and it's on the floor. Like, if you're in the kitchen washing dishes, you're not pivoting your head all around. You don't know what's going on behind you. So the idea that something could be behind you and just moving silently, and then when you look isn't there, is very unnerving to me, especially because I've always had, like, a fear of that to begin with. And then watching those movies, and you're seeing it through the lens of that night vision camera, and different angles throughout the house where things could just be there and then not be there. It's very, very spooky. But there's never any, like, horrible, like, gore. And if there is, like, violence, it's, like, off screen. You see a lot of people getting, like, thrown from one room into another room, and, like, that's it, or you hear, like, a bone breaking, like a neck cracking or something like that, but it's off screen, So, yeah, I think those movies are really good. Now, the first 4, I think, are good, and then it starts to kind of go off the rails and get a little weird.
Yeah.
There's the one, which I don't know if it's 5 or 6, but it's where, like, the kid develops, like, superpowers.
Yeah.
From, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we watched
And then at the end
one.
of the movie, he finds himself at the end of the first movie when they're in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very weird. It kind of got, like, all, like, Marvel Cinematic Universe on itself, which I don't think works for scary movies. But, yeah. So, I don't know. That's my take on it. I agree with you for the most part that spooky movies are better than, gory horror slasher films. Although I do like my one exception to that is zombie movies. And
I don't like those
I know,
either.
and I know they're gross. I completely agree that they're gross, but my favorite part of that is, like, the outbreak scene. Like, it's always at the beginning of the movie, like World War Z, when it's at its worst. Like, they're in the city, and there's, like, one guy, then there's 2, then there's 3, then there's a wave, and you're running through the city, and there's people chasing you and all this stuff. There's helicopters coming down from the sky. Like, it's chaos, And there's always that, like, money shot of, like, 100,000 CGI zombies running through a city, and it's just, like, I don't know, there's something so cool about it. Although I don't like The Walking Dead. And not because I think objectively it's an amazing show, but something serialized like that kind of allows for scares to be few and far between, and all the action scenes to kind of be spread out, because you have a lot of characters and a lot of drama to focus on. So, you're kind of waiting for, like, the next cool moment. But the cool moments, when they happen, are very amazing. So, but yeah, so I think that's my exception to that, is zombie movies.
I like Warm Bodies, and I like the Maze Runner movies.
Well, Maze Runner's not really scary. They're more of,
No,
like, sci-fi thriller.
Yeah, but they're like zombie movies.
No.
Aren't there zombies in them?
No, that's like towards the end when like the characters get infected with like the aggressive virus.
Yeah, it's like
But like
zombies.
I think that only happens in like the last two movies, but there's never like a horde of zombies. It's always just kind of like, oh no. And I didn't like that either because spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen those movies, you want to skip this. Newt dies because of that. It's one of my favorite characters. And they kill him off and he gets the damn virus. Makes me so mad.
Wow, sorry that I brought it up.
It's fine. But I like Maze Runner, but that's not really
I consider that to be like a zombie movie.
okay.
But I only like those types of movies if there's a really good storyline behind it. If it's just like virus breaks out and survival after that, I'm like, meh,
Yeah.
seen it.
Well, I thought World War Z was good for that reason. There was a story that was like, well, we need to find a cure. We need to get a way to find a cure.
It's the same story as all of the other. I don't know. I didn't.
A lot of
love
times,
it.
zombie movies are like, everything's gone to shit. Let's all go to a mall, or let's all go to a military base, or we have to backpack across the United States to find a safe haven. This one is like Brad Pitt is just a lone gunman. He's got to get out there and he's got to find a cure, and everywhere he goes, all hell breaks loose, and he's going from point A to point B. They don't really do that a whole lot. It's always like a group of people and they're in like three places, or like they're traversing, a state to try to get like Zombieland. It's like that.
Never seen it.
Zombieland is good. You wouldn't like it because of the gore factor.
No, you
because
put
it's
on
zombies.
the first like 2 minutes for me, and it was too gory. And
Yeah.
I turned it off because I was starting to feel nauseated.
Yeah. But if you can get past that, the
Yeah.
acting is all really good. And I'm so bad with names, but the actor who just played Carnage in Venom 2,
Woody Harrelson.
thank you, who's amazing. I'm just very, very bad with names. He is awesome in it. He's like the breakout star of that movie, and he's really, really funny. But it's a good one, But it's a shame that it's as gory as it is because, it turns a lot of people off.
Yeah, it's a no for me.
It's a no from me, dog. But yeah, that's one of my favorite traditions, though. Sitting down and binge watching scary movies or a TV show. We didn't watch any of the Huluween, the Into the Dark this year.
Yeah.
There was a tone there. Why'd you say it like that?
Some of them were good, and some of them were just too bizarre for me to really enjoy. I didn't miss that. I wasn't like itching for it. If I was, I would have said like, we should watch that. I wasn't. I was sad that I didn't get to watch the rest of my spooky movies, but
Well, we still can.
yeah.
We're doing an extension of the season, so we might as well
watch
just
those
sit down and watch
movies
them.
any time of year. If
Yeah.
they're not specifically Halloween related,
Mm-hmm.
you watch them whenever I want.
Well, I mean, there's really no rule. Who's gonna stop us? Who's gonna come to the door and be like, "Hey, listen, it's November. We don't do that anymore. You can't watch Haunted Mansion and Halloween Town." It's like, no, I can do whatever I want. So if you want to watch them, watch them. And I'll do it with you.
I'm with you. However, the closer we inch to like Thanksgiving, the more I'm like ready for that.
Ready for Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Well, Thanksgiving it's a shame because Thanksgiving doesn't really get a lot,
Well, this year, Thanksgiving also gets Hanukkah. So
True. But like normally Thanksgiving, is celebrated the week of. You have the parades and the football games and everybody's making turkey crafts and like little decorations and stuff like that, but you don't spend like 2 months celebrating Thanksgiving the way you do Halloween or 8 months the way people do with Christmas. Like
well, that's ridiculous. It's a whole other thing.
It's like a week, so I kind of don't, and I guess, I'm part of the problem because I don't really think about Thanksgiving until the week of, because I'm still in Halloween mode.
I've been thinking about it, babe.
Yeah?
I've been thinking about it for months.
Yeah?
Food.
Well, babe, we can eat food whenever.
Special food.
it can be special food. We can always make our own
I know,
Thanksgiving
but there's
dinner.
just something different about eating it on Thanksgiving.
My mom and grandma used to do that all the time. It should be like, hey, it's Friday night. Let's have a giant Thanksgiving dinner for no reason.
But it's just different. I
Yeah,
don't know.
okay.
It just feels different to me.
I mean, I'm not gonna.
But I get
Harsh your bud.
excited. I get excited about that, and then I get excited about the holidays
Hanukkah
that
and
follow.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I know. I don't think Halloween gets enough time. I think people should start
Are you kidding me? People start putting out decorations in July.
for Halloween.
Yes.
Those are stores, and they're doing it wrong because, first of all, I love Halloween, but no one is thinking about Halloween in July or August. Everyone is trying to hold on to summer as best they can, and those poor kids are already being forced to think about school. Every store is like, hey, get your books, get your pencils.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go back to torture in September, and it's like, oh great.
Torture.
And then,
Torture.
no offense,
They don't torture.
and then by the time, September rolls around, it's like, well, we're all back in school again, whatever. And then they kind of start Halloween a little bit, halfway through September. But it should be the beginning of September. That way you give the kids something to look forward to. And I can start decorating sooner, and not feel awkward about it.
I mean, we decorated the first week of September this year.
But we were the only ones.
Who cares?
You're right. That's a good point.
We did our own thing.
That's absolutely right. Who cares?
And the decorations are still up 2 months later, so what are they gonna do about it?
Well, yeah. I love decorating so much.
I
love putting
decorating
everything
for every
up.
holiday.
Love decorating the house.
But I really like the spooky lights and everything. I love the way that I did the mantle.
Yeah, it looked really cool.
That is totally my vibe, totally my aesthetic. I really enjoy the little pumpkin lights and the fall lights that were donated generously from you.
Yes, you're
and
welcome.
Putting up all those little things around the mantle. I just love the way it looks and the way it feels in that room when those lights are on.
Yeah.
It just feels warm and cozy. And
Yeah.
even if it's cold in there, I still feel comforted.
Mm-hmm.
And we put up lights for most holidays.
We do
we go all
Hanukkah,
out.
Christmas, we did Easter. I think we have Valentine's Day lights too. Didn't your mom give us heart lights, or did she keep those?
I think I bought Valentine's Day stuff. I did my own little mantle. I got LED hearts from Amazon.
Oh, that's
and
right.
Flower petals, and I put our pictures up there. I made it real cute.
It was very cute.
That's what I did last year. I was trying to keep, because you were sad after fall and winter and our holidays that we usually decorate a lot for were over.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to not be sad, so I just kept getting more decorations for different seasons.
You're the best. And I appreciate that. Well, because it always looks so nice when it's decorated for a season, but then once we take everything down, we don't really have much to put on the mantle. We have a couple of pictures, but it's very bare. It's very sad. But, yeah, I mean, alright, so, decorating for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Watching scary movies.
Mm-hmm.
Making candy apples.
Mm-hmm.
Going pumpkin picking,
Mm-hmm.
and on hay rides.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite tradition that either we've started together or just in general?
Corn maze.
The corn maze?
The corn maze and the hayride to the pumpkin patch. I love that. And that's something that I always did as a kid, too. But it's just always so fun when we go together.
It is, yeah.
And we've been doing that since we first started dating. Well, I guess I met you months before autumn. But that was something we did our first year.
Well, you met me months after autumn.
Well, yes. But
Technically.
that first autumn that we went together,
Mm-hmm.
we had already known each other for quite a while. But,
Yeah.
I feel like that's become a little tradition, and I just associate that with now it's been really hot when we go, which is weird, but I always did associate it with cooler weather, where I
Oh
have
my
to wear a
gosh.
jacket, and I would have hot chocolate or a warm apple cider after.
I gotta
Just make me
say,
one apple cider.
well, we have some in the fridge.
I know.
There, I believe, was only one time that we've gone where I felt like I needed a jacket.
The flashlight maze?
No, during the day.
Oh.
Every
That
time
was
we've
cold.
gone, it's been warm.
And hot.
It has been, and I don't know, maybe it was the first time we went together or the second time, but I feel like from the third onward, I've been sweating
Yeah,
going
me
through
too.
there, which I mean is whatever, it's not a big deal, but
It's definitely getting warmer that time of the year.
yeah, just weird.
It's weird that we've had like 80-degree days
During
up
October,
until, yeah, like last week was like the last time that we had those warm days.
yeah,
How weird is that?
it is weird. I mean, I know it's not great, but I am thankful because like it allows us to do a lot more during that season outside and not be miserable, because it did used to get like way too cold in October. Like it's like what it is right now was what it was like the beginning of the month. Like
I mean,
October 1st and 2nd, it was already like 69 below.
I'll take 6 months of 80-degree weather. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
I
Well,
just-
you who would like to live in Florida
The
for the
other
weather.
6 months just get so cold. Like it just went from being 80 to being 30, and that I don't enjoy.
Well, we
Yeah,
have two extremes now. There's no in between anymore. We don't really get spring either. It goes right from cold and shitty and rainy to, oh, it's 1,000,000 degrees outside. Like, maybe there's like 3 days where it's like 70 and a light breeze and beautiful clear skies in April. But then as soon as that goes, it's back to being, 80, 85, 90, at the lowest like 75, which I don't hate, but
Yeah,
it is
well-
kind of, it's weird. But at least, fall, it was sprinkled. We had 80 degree days here and there, but for the most part we were getting like 69, 75 days, which to me I think a 75-degree day with a cool breeze is like the perfect fall day.
Yeah, there are a lot of like 70-something degree days. I will agree with you there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's making me appreciate autumn more. I
Yeah.
used to associate it with being cold and like all the trees die right away, but I mean, up until like this past week, most of the trees were still green.
Yeah, and now we're getting beautiful, vibrant colors. It's not going right to brown like it did last year.
Yeah.
Last year it
That
skipped like
continues.
right to the Thanksgiving colored leaves, which are like
Because-
yellow and brown.
Because
Which is funny.
the same thing that happened this year pretty much happened last year, is that it went from hot to like cold. And then the trees were like, oh, I guess I'm late. And just dropped all the leaves.
Yeah. I guess I'm late.
Guess I missed it.
Yeah, well, hopefully that doesn't happen this year. Hopefully it takes a little longer for them to change. But, and I know we already talked about this before, but I kind of cut the conversation down from our last episode in terms of candy. But, which is quite the jump. What a transition. But I still am thinking about it because
Still thinking about candy?
I'm still thinking about Halloween candy. Because to me, like, Halloween candy and Easter candy are different than just candy. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's... You go to
about two holidays that I really don't celebrate.
I know you don't, but now I'm gonna rant for a second, because, you go to the store, you go to, like, Acme, whatever, and you go to their candy aisle, and they have giant bags of M&Ms and everything, and they have the giant Hershey bars and everything. Five Below, same deal. But I never feel the desire to just buy candy except for Halloween and Easter, because it's either the packaging, the way it's presented, something about it just makes me want it more. And I guess I associate chocolate bars and Reese's peanut butter cups and stuff like that with Halloween, and like Cadbury cream eggs and jelly beans and stuff with Easter. So when that season rolls around, I just want them more, So when we have them in the house, I just find myself constantly snacking on like bite-sized Milky Ways and Twix and stuff like that. But throughout the rest of the year, and like even in the summer, I just, no, like whatever, I don't really care about candy. And then here comes, fall and Halloween, and it's like, just give me all of it.
I think because of those like childhood memories. I don't associate candy with pretty much any holidays except for Valentine's Day. And that's only because you give me cordial cherries every Valentine's Day.
Well, yeah, I guess that's another
and
one
now
where
I
it's
come
like...
to look forward to it.
Oh,
but,
cute.
like, I'm really thinking hard. There's, like, no other holiday where I'm like, ooh, candy.
Yeah.
I'm turning into you, where I'm, like, not really a big sweets person anymore.
That's not true.
No,
You're always like, I want dessert. I want cupcakes.
Like cakes more than candy.
Yeah.
But I look forward more to like the savory foods than I do desserts.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'd rather fill up on, steak and stir fry and seafood than dessert and everything.
Yeah.
But that's why, to me, it is always such a drastic change when I want candy. Because it's like, I don't really eat candy, but I want Twix bars, Kit Kats, and Crunch bars, like, right now.
Because it reminds you of, like, those memories in this time of the year and all that.
I guess there's a sense of, like, collecting one of each of my favorite bars, Well, because that's what I would do when I would go trick-or-treating. I was like, I gotta have one of each. I gotta end the night with at least one of all my favorites. And then I would go home, and then my mom would be like, "You can have two," and then would take. I'm kidding. For the most, she would let me eat like 5 or 6 pieces, but she would put them all in a big bag and then put it away, and be like, "You can have 5 more every night until it's all gone." So I never sat down like the night of and just ate a crap ton of candy. But I guess that that's a good thing. I don't have cavities.
So
Thank you. Yeah. But I have people in my house that would eat my candy, too. I had family members that would steal it from me. I know you're listening.
Don't call anyone out.
I'm not. But I know you're listening to this. But yeah, so I guess that's why I just associate it with that and why I want it so much more. There's never anything that I want in the summer, though, related to, like, sweets. I guess, like, s'mores.
Ugh, are you kidding me?
Well, like, no, okay, ice
cream
cream and s'mores, and that's really it, Because, like, everything else is fruit. People want watermelon and pineapple and peaches and everything, and I'm all here for that, I think for me, summertime is about, like, drinks and fruit, really, instead of desserts. Because, you get ice cream on the beach, and you have s'mores at, like, cookouts and holidays, but that's really it. You don't come home and... from work and like, I'm going to make a couple of s'mores. What do you say? Nobody ever does that.
I miss summer.
Babe, don't think like that, because we have a ways to go before you get back to that again. Gotta enjoy the now.
So you're like bringing up all these positive pictures in my mind of my favorite season.
Well, let me bring up positive pictures in your mind about this season.
I like
food.
I like autumn too.
Crunchy leaves.
It is.
Lots of food. I just keep saying food, and I feel like you'll cheer up.
Probably enough.
Yeah, it's probably
enough.
I like
summer, and then autumn is my second favorite.
Yeah. Autumn to me is my favorite for so many reasons.
I know it is.
Can't beat it. I just love Halloween.
You can beat it with summer, but...
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll agree to disagree. But, anyway, this was a very nice conversation. Thank you for joining me. And thank you all for joining us.
I do live here, so it's tough to get out
I know,
of this.
you kind of have to at this point. You just have no choice. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. You have a choice. But you choose to because you love me. And we love you. So thank you all so much for joining us on another episode of the NerdCast. The spooky Freaks and Eeks Halloween episode. Not very spooky, though. But we hope you're all enjoying the season and, rocking out with us a couple extra days enjoying Halloween. But November's, it's before we know it, Thanksgiving's gonna be here. So try to stay spooky as long as possible. If you love Halloween as much as we do, keep watching scary movies, keep snacking on candy, and leave all your decorations up until your neighbor comes over and says it's time to take it down. But this has been fun. We'll see you next time.